Welcome back. It's time for Heavy Hitters with NRL CEO Andrew Abdo. Andrew, thanks for joining us.
Great to be here.
Now, the game, it's going through unprecedented growth at the moment. The momentum that we've got so far this season is incredible, really. What do you put it down to?
I think it's a couple of things. Credit has to go to the athletes. The football on the field has been spectacular, and the clubs are doing a great job creating a high-performance environment where the standard of football, the play, the ball speed, the ball in play, it's phenomenal. Credit also needs to go to the Commission. They made some big calls around the rules a few years ago, and we see the benefit of that. And then, this competition, you can't call it. Well, you were talking earlier around how unpredictable it is, and that's really important for fans.
Yeah, you can tell even with New Zealand doing well, they won 3 in a row, looking to win 4 in a row. So the game is really thriving, not only here, but over there as well. Now, today, you've admitted, the NRL, that the referee's got a few decisions wrong. Can you talk us through the memo that went out and what for?
Yeah, for sure. Look, referees are heavily scrutinised, and I like to classify it into 3 buckets. So first of all, I think it's important to acknowledge that the referees do a great job and get 98% of the calls right. Then there are going to be some calls that are 50-50 and debate them. You guys were debating them earlier on the show. The Leota trial, was it a trial, wasn't it a trial? You looked at it about 9 times, 10 times. And you're always going to get that in professional sport. And then there are calls where they're just wrong. They were errors. And over the weekend, we identified direct forceful contact to the head with no mitigation, and that is a clear sin.
So it's not all high shots, it's just direct contact with the head.
100%, right? So you'll see high tackles that'll be penalised, or there might be some mitigation. But the referees know what the decision tree looks like. Direct, forceful contact, so where we saw shoulders directly into the head, no mitigation, the player wasn't falling, that's a clear sin bin. And we saw about 4 of those occasions on this round, and it was unfortunate.
Yeah, well, leads me to this question. 17 clubs, broadcasters, stadiums, millions of fans. How do you keep them all happy?
Well, I think the art is to try and keep everyone equally unhappy. No, I mean, look, the game's going really well. We have had a terrific start. Las Vegas in the opening round, we really do capture the imagination of not just rugby league fans, but just fans in general across Australia, New Zealand, and the Pacific. And, this is a game that has a lot of passion. We love this game, and everyone in the game loves it. And so with that passion comes, people having very specific views. And let's just say I get a lot of feedback, no matter where it is. But I like that, I enjoy that. I love the game, and I love and I respect people's views.
Has your approach changed in the last 5 years?
Yeah, well, look, I was just looking at photos of myself there. I was looking a bit younger 5 years ago. But, when I first started in 2020 and Peter had become the chairman in 2019, there was a lot of negativity around the game back then. And if you fast forward 5 years, we've got record crowds, record attendances, we've got a balance sheet, we've got money in the bank, but most importantly, we've got like a vision, and people are proud of the game. And we're talking about the growth of the game. We're talking about the growth of international football and the globalisation of rugby league and putting the NRL on the global map. Las Vegas is such a great way for us to showcase the season to an international audience, and it's just wonderful to be able to put rugby league on that global stage.
You mentioned Las Vegas, and that was a huge success. We've been there the last couple of years. What's the big ticket item for 2025? What's the focus for you guys, and what have you got in store?
Oh, look, there's quite a lot to look forward to this year. We've obviously got a premiership where anyone can beat anyone on any given day. We're going to have an NRLW expanding to 12 teams. So the women's competition is going to be terrific. And then we love middle winter, whether it's a cold Wednesday night or a cold Thursday night for the women's state of origin. There's always something to look forward to right in the middle of our season. But the area that we are particularly excited, and I'm personally passionate about, is the international game. So this year we've got an Ashes tour. We've got the Kangaroos touring for, it's been over 20 years. And the first game between Australia and England, 1908, 22-all draw. And since then, 39 series, it's 2019 to Australia. That's crazy. It's just like very special rivalry. And you guys know when you've toured the UK, it's something different. The football is important, but the mateship, the opportunity to go and experience rugby league in the north, it's pretty special.
What name comes up in your phone? We just had a couple of journalists leave. What name comes up in your phone the most?
Oh, actually, I just need to excuse myself. I've just got Peter V'landys calling right now, so I just need to take this call. No, I mean, obviously, Peter and I talk to each other a lot, and you would expect that from between a chairman and CEO. So we speak, regularly. I've never met someone who has as much drive and energy and care for the game. And so certainly that's a name that comes up on my phone.
What
fairly
about the
regularly.
one that you dislike the most coming up on your phone?
Well, it depends on where in the week it is.
Okay.
If it's on the weekend, then
Yeah.
it could be a coach or it could be
wanna name
someone giving me some feedback on the games.
Okay.
If it's during the week, it's typically a call from home saying, I need to get home for dinner.
So you've had coaches ring you.
Yeah, I mean, I've got obviously
Yeah.
you've got to talk and you've got to listen, and I
Yeah.
speak to lots of stakeholders in the game.
Okay.
Mate, what about the DCE drama? You know, some people like it. It fills the papers. Is there a chance of getting a trade window? Do you think the fans really love reading it?
Yeah, I think a couple of things here. First, I think it's important to acknowledge Delhi, right? He's a legend.
Yes.
He's the Manly captain. He's captained Queensland. He's had an unbelievable career, and he's a great player. And it was actually terrific to see the response of the Brookvale, faithful and the Manly fans cheering him on the weekend. And good on him, This wasn't a particularly great opportunity, I think, experience for either the club or for Delhi. There's been a lot of speculation. So on one hand, you've got to say that's part and parcel of professional sport. You look at sports around the globe, player movements are always going to attract attention. They're always going to attract fans' interest. Is there a different way to do it where you can do it in certain windows? Well, there's no perfect system, but that is definitely something we would like to explore down the track when it comes to the next CBA.
Yeah. You've got the rights deal on the horizon. Is the NRL strategy fully formed, or is it just a work in progress?
Well, maximising our revenue is really important for us because that feeds everything, all the way down to the salary cap, but obviously investment into grassroots. So we think about this. We've been planning for it, and we strategise it for a long period of time. You've got to have a great product, and you've also got to get your timing right. And so this is all about making sure we have the number of teams, the season structure, and then we time it perfectly to maximise value for everyone in the game. So we're thinking about it a lot, and this is something we want to make sure that we really get a great deal to set rugby league up for the next decade.
Queensland really love State of Origin. Magic Round has taken hold. Albert, what's a...
Albanese.
Yeah, he's got an election. What's wrong with him?
Well,
On the same weekend.
Isn't this proof that sports and politics don't go together, right?
It doesn't. I'm disappointed.
Look, we planned Magic Round a while back. The good news is it's almost sold out. So we're going to have a lot of fans, I reckon, voting early.
Voting early?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absentee.
Now, the game's been pretty vigilant on ensuring coaches aren't calling out referees in the media,
Great
in
call.
particular in press conferences. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm glad you bring it up, Braith.
Why is it the right call?
I'm glad you brought this up. So I know this has been debated on this show too. Let me clarify a few things. First of all, there's nothing new. There's always been a rule that no one in the game should question the integrity of the officials. We want to set the standard at the professional level all the way down to the grassroots. So that's not new. That's always been the case. And all that message was at the start of the season was just to remind everyone, let's keep it respectful, let's keep it professional, not personal, and not question the integrity of the referees. They do a great job. They do make mistakes.
Yeah.
We'll deal with it. Believe me, I know a lot of people say, the referees aren't accountable. That is absolute rubbish. We analyse and assess every decision made. We sit on a Monday, we go through all the stats, we look at it from multiple angles. So we just need to maintain a level of respect and professionalism.
We saw the accountability taken today by the NRL, so that's a good call. Now, the chairman remains bullish about NRL expansion. WA, PNG, where are we at?
Well, the good news is we've got PNG locked in. We've got 18 teams in 2028, and that's the start of a new cycle. That's good. That gives us another fixture. That gives us expansion. That gives us a whole other country. I'm incredibly excited about the opportunity that PNG brings us, right? This is a rugby league nation, and I think it's going to add a huge amount to our competition, particularly in terms of future player depth and talent, not just in PNG, the entire Pacific region. We'll continue to explore options to potentially expand beyond 18 to 19 and 20 teams, but it has to be the right decision for the game.
Is that where you see the game in 10 years? Obviously, Magic Round, Vegas. Is that where you see our future? Is that our plan?
I think that there is untapped potential to take rugby league to the global stage and continue the globalisation of the game, taking the game to new markets. The international game is part of that. Expansion of franchise is another element of that. And just thinking about ways in which we can take rugby league, not just to the US, to the UK, and make it truly the #1 sport in the Pacific.
Buzz has been really outspoken about how we can't lose Peter V'landys to our game. What he's done has been incredible. It really has. Now, for you and Peter, it's a big job. Does it take an emotional and physical toll on both of you? Like, you got a lot of pressure and responsibility on your shoulders.
Yeah, Peter's a machine, He really does handle the pressure well. And He's been a distinguished sports administrator in racing as the CEO for many years, and now the last 5 years really leading the commission. And we work really well together. But in our game, you don't take for granted how passionate people are.
Yeah.
So that's like the X factor in our game.
Yeah.
And so with that comes obviously the intense scrutiny. And you can imagine all the stakeholders in the game and
the
balancing
tribes,
the competing needs. You know, clubs, the players, the broadcasters, the sponsors, the fans, the media and the like. That's part of the job. It's not something, it's a privilege to work in this game. Let me tell you, when I came to Australia, rugby league made me Australian, made me feel Australian, made my family become Australians. I don't say that lightly. So for me, it's a real passion to strive to keep making the game better and help grow the game, because, you know, this is probably the best community I've ever been a part of.
Well, you can see the passion in both yourself and Peter. We really appreciate it. We appreciate your transparency coming on the show, especially after today and the reaction in regards to the referees. Keep up the great work. We love your work.
Thanks. Always good talking to you guys.